Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 662. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Corey Fonsad
Hello.
and Tony Korkanakis.
Yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers. If you're watching this, we're live on Twitch Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock. Please join us live. Have some conversations with us. It's fun. We'd love to have some questions during the podcast. You will also see, if you're watching the video of this, I'm in a new locale. My office is fine. Long story short, I'm podcasting from my living room this afternoon. So there may be this evening. So there may be some pet appearances if you're watching this broadcast. So there's some cats and
Bonus
there's like
for those
a couple
viewers
cats
out there.
Yeah, a couple cats and a dog, and they may not get along at some point, so they may be running behind me. It might be entertaining. Who knows? We'll see. So, welcome to the movie cast, though, folks. This is Mike's also enjoying a bachelor party, so congrats to him. Not for him, for his friend. Obviously, Mike's that made it sound weird, but so he's off and having fun.
He's partaking in someone's
yeah.
bachelor party.
Yes. So he'll be joining us next week. Obviously, he's just busy, so understandable. Anyways, guys, so movies. What have you been watching? What do you guys think? Watching wise, I finished Picard, which, for the Star Trek fans, I don't know how many we have listening. I will say that this is now the third attempt to close the Next Generation Picard story arc. And they did a good job. Like, they finally did a really good job from it, because I think they failed twice, really. I mean, arguably, depending on how you like the movies and how you like the end of the show, I felt like this was a great send-off for all of the characters, the cast that they got, obviously the originals that they got back. They gave you some great nostalgia hits. I don't want to spoil anything if you're going to watch it, but it was very nostalgic for the Next Generation fans. And it was surprising too, because I thought they were doing stuff they didn't end up doing, and I'm happy for it. They gave you an ending that I think I enjoyed quite a bit, and that's the big thing that I've watched. I didn't really get any movies watched this week. It's been crazy work. What, didn't I watch any movies?
Come on.
The big thing.
Man?
The big thing because I watched it last Tuesday night. Last Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, I watched Ahsoka, the first 2 episodes. So I actually watched it. The first one that night, and then the follow-up the next morning, because it works insane. Works insane.
I'm gonna mention
it. No, actually I will, because it's fantastic. Like, I think I messaged you guys in Discord and said that it is, like, I don't know how the rest of the series is gonna be, but Dave Filoni with his directed episode and even the follow-up by the next director, but he's writing all of these, it's so well done. Like, it is just like it brings a smile to your face. It's like, this is Star Wars. This is what we've seen with the Clone Wars that was built up. All of that stuff that they're like, it feels like, and I don't know this is going to be the case, because this is not spoilers, because I'm not giving you anything here, but it feels like Dave Filoni's like, okay, here's what you guys did with the movies. I can fill in the stories to make this better. And I think, because he did that. Remember, he did that with the Clone Wars, with the prequels. I feel like his additions with the Clone Wars enhanced the prequel movies.
I saw these episodes also.
Okay, what'd you think?
What I liked most about these 2 episodes is that it felt like a continuation of the cartoons.
The Rebels cartoon.
Felt like,
really.
Yeah, it felt like we are just picking up where we left off with those. And it did not make me think of the movies whatsoever, because they have nothing. It feels like they don't really want to or care about the movies.
I don't know.
It makes me feel like this is like kind of replacing that in a way. It's like I don't think he's trying to fix it. I think he's trying to make you forget about it.
I'm good with that too, because I wasn't a big fan of the movies, but I feel like that's his attack on things usually, his approach. It's like, let me just enhance these stories to make things better. Because they're not going to. It's not like Disney's going to throw those movies.
No,
out.
I mean,
it's not,
for
you know
me,
what I mean?
It was just like I don't care at all about the new stuff, and so like this just felt cool. Like more of the old. Like it just like we're like picking up right where we left off. So that was very pleasant surprise.
And I gotta say, Ray Stevenson, that fantastic. It's such a tragic passing of him, and you realize it now more in this show, and it just was like, the whole time you're like, man, his presence is excellent on screen. I mean, he's been great in those first 2 episodes. It's so cool, and it does feel like they're kind of doing their own Heir to the Empire arc. Don't they, like they're kind of, I don't know. I get that a little bit from this, but which is cool. So I don't know. I very much enjoyed it visually. Holy shit, it looked great. Like this looked fantastic. Like cinematography was incredible, which is more than you can say for the Obi-Wan series. I don't know what happened, but I do know that this looks like a movie. Like this looks movie
the quality
quality.
is very good.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. It looks like just from that opening sequence, you're like, "Fuck, this is Star Wars. This is great." So, yeah, yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I was
But like I
pleasantly
said,
surprised. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. I
think
don't know if
I'm
I'll watch
on
it
it
tonight.
more than you guys.
You're not really. What did you think?
Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not
Okay.
bad. It's better than
Give me your impressions.
most of the other things. But honestly, like, kind of like what you guys are saying though, like how like it's like, oh, we're trying to fill in the gaps in the timeline better or whatever like that. It kind of loses its appeal for me a bit because we've done that already. Like don't get me wrong, I loved like what they did with the Clone Wars TV series and everything like that, because it's like, wow, okay, like because you needed that, I think, to make things make sense for that like Anakin, like going from zero to dark side. It's like, like what really happened here? It seems very abrupt, right? With this, it's just kind of like, because we've done it already, right? Like Dave Filoni pulled that hat out of his or pulled that rabbit out of his hat.
Right. Yeah.
I know it, but also it's kind of like, what are we going towards here? Like, because canonically these characters can't really impact the sequel movies that much. So, and like the whole thing with like Thrawn, it's like, okay, well, how much can Thrawn really impact the series either? Because he can't. So it's just kind of like,
that's where, not to interrupt, that's where I was like, I'm not thinking about the movies at all. I'm just hoping, like I want this stuff to replace that in a way, because like you're saying, it's when it's a prequel, it's tough because you're kind of tied to what's happening in the future. It sucks too.
Right. So, but we're just now in an awkward spot with. Well, wait, no. I guess this does take place after the last one, right? Or
it takes place after. It's after Boba Fett. It's after.
It's after Boba Fett,
but in the movie timeline, it's after Episode 9.
No.
Before.
This is
all
before
Force
Awakens.
Episode 9.
Before 7.
Before 7.
Yeah.
Right. So we're exactly in the same spot where it's like nothing in here can drastically change what happens. If at most we'll be like, oh well, that character does something and that causes I don't know, Kylo or whatever, eventually down the line.
Like I said, I hope they just don't touch on the movies at all. But that's
but
unfortunately
which is fun. We'll see how the series goes. It's just I kind of feel like maybe it's just going to be a lot of like song and dance and hitting the same beats. It's like, oh, you got to save Ezra, but not also let Thrawn, do bad stuff. And it's like.
My other concern, he's learned a lot, and I watched the making of this too, which was great. And he's learned so much from when he started with Clone Wars. But like my concern is, like, if you remember Clone Wars, it was a little rough that first season.
Oh, absolutely, we all agree.
It was a kids show. The first season.
Also, just to find their stride, not for the adult side, but just the storylines, just to find the stride for it. It seemed like it took a season and a half or so just to really get into the episodes. And yeah, I know it's a kid's show. I get that, but it seemed like it didn't have a direction until after that point, and then it took off, like just for story.
Oh yeah, once they took the handcuffs off, it felt like.
Yeah. So.
But no, like I said, I think I was much. I've been so down on Star Wars stuff. This was a pleasant surprise that it wasn't on the level of everything else. Obviously, I did not watch Andor, but.
Oh, Andor was fantastic. So yeah, comparatively. Obviously Ahsoka's my favorite character in Star Wars, really, at this point. Very hard to say that against Luke, because I do love Luke Skywalker. Obviously, he's what got me into the Star Wars movies, but Ahsoka is, I think, my favorite character. However, Andor, I believe, right now is a better series, just hands. That was so good. But I don't know where this is going, so we're going to see where this ends up, and we'll reevaluate.
So again, it's not bad, but I'm just like.
No, it's more the same. I get
right,
like just retreading.
The thing with Ahsoka, what I appreciated was she was such a pivotal character for that Clone Wars series, but she didn't interject with the main timeline, right?
Yeah,
and I love that.
Also, what I was gonna get to is that she was also much more of her own person,
right?
Like not tied to the Jedi and their ways, and they're stuck in their certain traditions and stuff like that. And here it seemed like she was like trying to bring all that back almost.
Yeah,
and like,
and I swear to God, if this
weird.
If this season ends up with her like meeting up with Luke again and being like, You
I
should
don't
start a
think they go that way.
temple. That's what your father would have wanted. I'm going to barf. I'm going to just be like, oh, I'm absolutely done. I don't care if you do an Ahsoka scene. Like, the thing is, like, I don't know. I'll compare it to, like, Darth Vader, right? Like, when we think of, like, the original trilogy, every time Darth Vader shows up, he steals the scene, right? Like, he's just that central badass character. But the more they use him, the less I like it. It's kind of like a horror character monster, whatever. Like, the more we see him and the more appearances he makes, the less I'm like, wait, scary, what? Right? Like, I'll say Fallen Order, the video game, and I'm sorry if I've spoiled this for you. It's a couple years old, whatever. But at the end of the game, when Darth Vader shows up to, like, you know, take out Cal or whatever like that, and he just fails, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, he's not even a Padawan, basically. How can you not just instantly destroy him in the blink of an eye? And I'm just like, dude, you're getting punked here. You're getting punked. And it just takes away from the mythos of that character to me.
Yeah.
And
no,
so,
I agree.
So Ahsoka, by that same token, I liked her more when they used her less. Like, the way she ended with, in Rebels, that episode where it was like her versus Vader, I thought was beautiful. And as much as I wanted more of that character, I thought that was a beautiful, just like that's it, right? Like,
the mystery of what happened. Yeah, it's a good way to end it. Yeah.
Right. So while I am happy that we are getting more, on the same token, I'm just kind of like, well, it's filling in gaps where I'm like, did I really need more of this?
It's so crazy to refer to Rebels as which is a kid show, to be an emotional part. But that part for me, that got me.
Too,
it did. And that part got me when I was watching it. I'm like, oh man, I was like so invested in this. I'm like, are they gonna kill? Are they gonna kill her? This because Vader's going on, and it's just like, what are they doing to this character? And you're just, but that did have a great impact, and it's just like, and again, it goes back to, we've talked about Inception, the open-ended endings, how they can actually cause better conversations before you don't make something final. And I understand what you're saying with that, Tony. Like, the up in the air of what happened. You know that's a good send off, anyways, because it was such a great, powerful ending that you didn't need to bring her back. I get that. I am happy, obviously, we got her back, but I do understand that point. Like, I thought that was such an impactful moment. So
I mean, it was cool to see some of these Rebels characters in live action also. So
they've done a good job transitioning. So, all right, so that's Ahsoka. Anything else, Corey?
Nothing else that's of note.
Okay. Anything, Tony?
Let's see. I've been through a lot more Harley Quinn. Just playing some games where I can on PC where I can, like, kind of multitask and stuff like that. Mostly Harley Quinn's like I don't need to pay full attention to it and stuff like that. So I think I just got to season 3, or whatever, where certain characters just started a relationship, and it's like the big deal or whatever like that. And I'm still enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, but like, there is still so much violence, like, absolutely needless violence,
and the stuff of the show.
It is just getting nonsensical to the point like nobody cares. Like, nobody in the show cares, and you're having, like, Justice League show up, and I'm just like, because, like, all right, so there's one episode where, like, Harley, for some reason, goes to Apocalypse and gets a parademon army from Darkseid. So she can fight Gordon, who rallied the citizens of Gotham to, like, assault her or whatever like that. And I'm just like, wait, what is this plot? I don't even understand anymore. Like, okay. But then you're having parademons just absolutely murder and slaughter these fucking Gotham citizens. And nobody cares. Nobody. Commissioner Gordon doesn't care because he's a fucking drunk, alcoholic asshole in this piece of shit. And, like, Harley's not even doesn't care. Like, oh, I just killed innocent people. Even though, like, in, like, an episode or two prior to this, she even had a conversation with the evil witch lady, Fairy Tale, or whatever her name is. Like, I'm a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy, or whatever. Like, I'm a villain. I'm just like, you just murdered hundreds, if not thousands, of people. How can you say this anymore? So, like, I get, again, this isn't supposed to be that serious, but it just bothers me that in universe, like, people that should be giving a shit aren't giving a shit, and it takes me out of it. So I'm just like, whatever. Like, I guess I just have to not care about this. And the thing is, the violence doesn't add anything to the show at all. Like, at all. I could sort of understand if they leaned on it for season 1 to get, like, the shock factor or whatever, but, like, I'm about to start season 3. Like, why is this still in here? Like, why? I just don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Actually, like I said, I'm not sure I even finished season 3 myself. I was like, I have to look back at the episodes. I think I probably did. In fact, I'm pretty certain I did actually. Now I think about it, but I know there was some slow moments in that season for me too. But I know Churro chimed in, saying that they had stopped watching as well. So
yeah, I think once the relationship happens, it was kind of like, everything after that was just,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's
I
what I
did finish
feel.
that.
And then you get the ultra violence, so I could see where it loses its appeal.
Like I just don't think it's necessary. Like it's not adding anything. Like if it's supposed to be
that's what it's
comic,
supposed to be over the top comedic. Yeah, that's the idea.
But like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. And like literally, you just have Batman. Like he doesn't care. Like
no.
Well, none of the heroes care about anything.
Well, right. So that's like it just boggles. It's mind-boggling stuff like that. But like the writing is so
like sympathetic character, like empathetic character.
Yeah, it's like what? It's so fucked up, and like whatever. It's just I don't know. I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, like it's aggravating to the point where I'm like, who greenlit? Like it just feels like Zack Snyder's like, we need violence. It's like just have King Shark like chop this or eat this dude's head. It's like what? He wasn't even like he's a goon. Like what the. Means nothing, stuff like that. It's just weird.
All right. Let's move on. Box office this week, not much to discuss really. Gran Turismo opened to 17 million. A lot of marketing behind that film. Not a great opening. It did beat Barbie though at 15.5, which is not a big feat. With how many weeks is this? 6th week in Barbie. Barbie comes out, I think, digitally next week.
Yeah.
But Oppenheimer did great. I mean, Barbie did great considering it's their 6 weeks, on the market. Blue Beetle with a big, what did it do? 12.1 million. So that's a
little more than half.
Yeah, all the numbers
like 29 or something like that.
Yeah, all the numbers I read said 60% drop, but I think it was like
sounds right.
Yeah, so. All
right. My boys loved that movie. They went to see it again on Sunday because it's $4 movie tickets.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, it's their favorite movie.
Yeah. I don't know what's coming up. I think that's it for the summer stuff. I don't think there's anything opening after for a little bit now. But especially with the delay.
Maybe for a while with all the...
Yeah. Though, unfortunately, folks, Dune 2, which was a big anticipated movie, I think, for us.
Moving right into the news. Let's do it.
Yeah, is coming...
excited. I mean, I could have done my most anticipated and had it 2 times in a row with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, you still could be excited, but it's for March now. I think it's March next year, 2024. So
it is what it is.
Everything's going to move. With this strike happening, you can't promo a movie. Studios are going to lose money because they can't have actors go promo. I love how they're going to lose money because they can't have an actor go promo a movie for them. And yet they won't talk to them about negotiations and stuff like that. Fair negotiations. So, in fact, Bob Iger apparently was insulted that the Writers Guild refused his offer, the latest offer for them.
Yeah.
He was like insulted personally that they did this. He was flabbergasted that it happened. Interesting that this is going to be a mess for the holiday season for good luck for the AMC's in them because why would you have Movie Pass? There's nothing coming.
Right, because I mean, so like that's the thing is like it's hurting everybody, right? So it's not even just the actors, it's not even just Disney, but it's now it's going to extend to movie theaters and that whole industry.
And then the people that are employed by the movie theaters, it's like
exactly.
It trickles down.
And I just want to remind everybody, the movie industry is just scraping back towards like a good space, right? Because like pandemic was shot, and like all this year up until this summer, right? Like how many bombs have we been having? Like
we've been discussing that,
right? We've been discussing all the time, and like now we just have like a couple successes where we can look at Mario, we can look at Barbie, stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, like a couple movies are making $1 billion again. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did really well. Oppenheimer,
first R-rated film,
right? Like the Marvels could do well and stuff like that. But no, these fucking movie companies like, you're being too greedy. You should just take this offer. It's like, okay, for as much as I respect Bob Iger as a businessman, compared to like Chapek, obviously, and stuff like that, but this is like, dude, you fucking need to wake the fuck up. Because at some point, there's breaking news actually where some investors are suing Disney actually for
now this is
for the Chapek years where they're like cooking the books a bit with streaming.
Really?
Right, with the streaming and how it was, whatever. So we'll see how that, handles into this equation, or loops, rolls up into the equation and stuff like that.
Isn't
But
that illegal to
well, yes, that's why they're suing,
but
right? Because like
that's insane. Like they could go to jail for that. Yeah,
I
that's
think
insane.
like also like Disney Pictures VFX workers are trying to unionize
Got it.
as well. So it's like lots going on.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's see. We're gonna cover the year's news last. So we'll talk about the passing, unfortunately, tragic passing of Bob Barker, the icon, and and unfortunately,
Price is wrong, Bob.
yeah. And I gotta say, like, he was 99 years old. One of the posts I said he lived all the way up to that $1 mark without going over, essentially. 99. But yeah, Price is Right, longtime host. What a life, man. He was still doing stuff like up to like even I've seen like last year he was doing stuff showing up, and I didn't even know, like somebody posted on Twitter after this about like a skit he did with Adam Sandler more recently where he's like in the hospital bed and they were like doing this whole Price is Wrong, they were doing that whole sketch again with each other, and it was so well done. It was unbelievable. But yeah, it's sad to have him pass away. And also Arleen Sorkin, the voice of Harley Quinn, and some of the inspiration of that character.
Most of the inspiration.
Yeah. Sadly passed away at age of 67. This was a couple days ago as well. That was more of a shock, especially with the loss of Kevin Conroy just not long ago. Yeah, I remember her posting when Kevin Conroy passed. It's just like, it's just sad to see that iconic voice actor not around anymore. And yeah, she made Harley Quinn. I mean, that's it. She's that voice you always hear, and everybody tries to mimic. And like you said, her character, believe it or not, Harley Quinn was built from her. And
yeah, I think Tony shared that tweet about the story of her when she was a clown, and a lot of that was the inspiration for the character. And this character did not exist without her.
So you could say like this character was made for her and because of her. So anybody that's been a fan of her, I would say significant addition to the Batman universe.
Oh, absolutely.
And the DC universe as a whole, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting her own comics, like number one selling comic for a while. So.
Yep. So it's sad. Sad passing.
We just talked about the cartoon that.
yeah, we did. Yep, yeah, we did. So. All right, and lastly in the news, what do I have? We have Zack Synder shares his love of wanting to do a Gears of War adaptation. Blockbuster movie. Didn't Netflix say they're working on something with this, or no? Is that not?
Well, I mean, they just did the Rebel Moon thing, right? Wasn't that like his?
Yeah, but didn't they say they were going to do a Gears of War adaptation on Netflix? They didn't say who was a part of that.
There was a movie, like there was like a deal for movie rights and stuff, but I don't know where that's been. And I know Batista's been like, "Oh, I want to be in this movie." Like that was years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, like Rebel Moon's trailer came out last week, I think, as well, and I gotta say it looks interesting, but I am not going to get excited for. No offense.
Zack Synder knows how to cut a trailer. That's for sure.
That we know, and he is excellent at making you excited for a movie. It's whether he delivers or not. Which 300 was. I really enjoyed 300.
I think I talked about this last week, so I probably repeat. But like he knows how to film something. Like he can make visually.
He can frame a shot.
He can frame a shot
really well.
Absolutely. And he should be probably, I don't know, principal photographer or whatever they call the role or something like that. Absolutely, it'd be great. But like you let him start writing, you let him start directing. It's just like, and it's funny because I was on a Reddit thread about this, and apparently, back when he had done Man of Steel. Because remember, back in the day, they wanted Christopher Nolan to do more, and he didn't. He wanted to move on.
Yeah.
But they kept Nolan around for, I think, a producer role or something like that on Man of Steel, and he tried to talk Zack Synder out of that, infamous neck break, snap, kill Zod at the end. He absolutely tried. He's like, "You should not do this. Like, you shouldn't do this. My dude, please do not do this." And he ignored it, and it's just like, if Christopher Nolan's giving you advice, you should probably take it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even like a Nolan fan as a person, but as a director, absolutely, you should probably take that advice.
Yep. Whether you like him or not, he's definitely earned that.
Yeah, oh,
that
absolutely,
respect.
100%, absolutely. Still made
So-
one of my, you know, two of my favorite movies of all time. But as a human being, a little low.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what comes of this, but a Gears movie would be great. I don't know if I want Zack Snyder doing it. He's great visually, as long as he's not writing it. But as long as he's not writing it, maybe.
I mean, this was supposed to be a Star Wars project, so
Rebel Moon was, yeah.
yeah.
I was
It is
saying
funny
Gears-
watching that trailer. You're like, oh, okay, that's a Jedi.
It's
That's
very
yeah, it's like-
inspired by certain.
He did.
who like.
But it's
will
funny because, like, at the
say-
same time, like, I'm like, I would actually be somewhat excited for this if this is a
Exactly.
new Star Wars type of thing.
I hear you, and I love the just the trailer with the motion of the lightsabers with that trail, the visual trail they leave. I'm like, that's kind of cool to have. Like, why haven't they done this in Star Wars? And I'm sure they'll steal it at some point. But you know, it's not. It's still at the end of the day, it's Zack Snyder, so I don't want to get super. I hope it's great. I really do hope it's really good.
Oh yeah, I always
for
want
those
something
wondering.
to be good.
But
Other than the
I'm not
Flash.
getting excited yet. I'm not getting excited yet until I hear some feedback from people who've seen it, stuff like that.
I mean, visually, you know, Zack Snyder's going to deliver.
Yeah.
Like that's what he does. It's just a matter of, is there substance to this visual image? Is there actual things that you can invest in?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, yeah, Sucker Punch trailer was awesome. Like, this is so cool
So
looking.
excited
Like,
for that
I
movie.
can't wait
Yeah.
to see what they do here. Because visually, this is cool, but
I think
can it come together? That's the
I-
tricky part.
I'm gonna go back and listen to our Sucker Punch episode. I gotta look back to when that was, but I just the
It's so
excitement.
funny because we both went home and watched another movie to get the taste out of our
Yeah, I
mouth.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. I
You
remember
guys were like,
the
do not
podcast
see this. I was like,
before-
okay, it kind of looked cool, but all right.
No, the podcast before was so excitement, and then both of us talking about how we had a palate cleanse the movie when we got home that night. So, and we didn't contact each other until the next podcast, which was like we didn't talk about the fact that both of us watched the movie when we got home that night until the podcast the week after. But that was funny. So, all right, I think that's about it for the movie stuff this week because there's a strike. So
Yeah, there's nothing to talk
that's
about,
good.
unfortunately.
It's gonna wrap it up. We'll talk more about Ahsoka next week too, and we'll see. Mike will be rejoining us, see if he's watched anything. So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Moviecast. Once again, join us on Twitch live. Give us a conversation. If you miss it, we're on YouTube the following day. Subscribe. Please subscribe to both channels so you get notified as we post the latest and greatest. We will see you guys in the Gamecast. We're out.